What's up YouTube? In today's video we are going to take a look at my cloth mousepad roundup, because I have collected a few cloth mousepads that I want to introduce to you and share my thoughts on each one of them, and instead of making a video for each mousepad I decided to make a mousepad roundup. As for disclaimer, I want to say a huge thank you to ERRENNIR for sending me their GECKO mousepad, WAYCO Island for sending me their new unreleased mousepad Project 87, as well as for the Gaming for sending me their ENIGMA and TESSERACT mousepad. And a big thank you to SKLD for doing the 2023 Community Peripheral Awards, where I was winner for this ESP Tiger FENG giveaway. And the last pad on my list is the Infinity Mice DUEL that I bought with my own money. Let's start things up with one of the newest additions on the peripheral scene, which is the WAYCO Island prototype mousepad, which for now is being called as Project 87. This was sent out to me by WAYCO Island for testing and reviewing, as they're working on a new mousepad by a new very small startup company of Euro-Pacific origins, which have been introduced to me as a hybrid mousepad targeted at tough FPS games like CS2 or Valorant. This mousepad comes in this colorful design as a reviewer sample and will probably not be available for purchase as for now, and I was also introduced to an all-black square featuring the same logo and design. We have a square pad in a size of 490 and 490mm in a 3.5mm of thickness with a soft to medium soft polyurethane base with a high quality level surface stitching. And the surface is made out of GECKO fabric, which feels nice and smooth, doesn't irritate my hand while in use. But I have come across the feeling after some time of use at first the pad felt faster, then it started to feel a lot more controlled and slower. But that was due to the fact that I was using my mices with dot skates, and better and more controlled feeling I got when I was using a full-size skate on the Zeopin Z2 or the Vencer Trash. These are the BTL skates from the Vencer, and these feel really amazing on this pad, like really slower and controlled. For the design of the Project 87, there was some sort of sublimation coloring method used for coloring this review sample pad, which, as you can see, some discoloration at some points of the pad, especially in this left corner over here. And it almost looks like it was hand colored with brush, which looks weird, but it doesn't affect the feel on the surface as well as the print on the pad goes. You don't feel it when you glide over with your mouse skates. As the speed goes, the Project 87 to me feels more like a slower controlled mousepad, which on the other hand is not feeling like a mudpad. To make things clear and easy to understand, I have felt really great using this pad while playing the CS2 for a slow-paced, low-sensitivity style of a gameplay. But for the faster-paced shooters like Battlefield 2042, I started to feel this pad being way slower than to my liking, especially on the BTL stock skates on my Vencer Trash, but the software feeling on this pad wasn't feeling muddy. Here is the speed test of me doing the angled glide test, where I place the mousepad in an angle and let the mice glide on its own to see how slow or fast the surface feel. And I was surprised as for how slow the WAYCO Island feels in my glide test. It scored as one of the fastest, easiest glides in my humble testing. And you will see the full comparison with each of these mousepads in the end of this video. So if you are looking for a hybrid speed mousepad, great for tech FPS games that feels quite slow with this level of high quality switching, base and surface, I can highly recommend it to you. It barely slips on my desk. It sits really nice. The design is great. I really like it. It's been on my desk for over 3 weeks, and yeah, I really become to liking it. Next on the list we have the Infinity Mice DUEL, which is yet another square medium control pad in a size of a 490 and 490mm with the same polyurethane base like the WAYCO Island has. They look really similar, but as you can see, the WAYCO Island looks more shiny than the Infinity Mice DUEL, as well as the WAYCO Island feels more sticky to my desk, so it barely moves on my desk, but the Infinity Mice Duel slips a lot on my desk than the WAYCO Island, even though these bases look a lot alike. So I prefer the base of the WAYCO Island way more than the base of the Infinity Mice Duel. It also comes in a 3.5mm thickness, with a soft to medium soft base with the same design, with the same high quality, low profile surface level stitching, again like the WAYCO Island. This surface feels like a really fine polyester, which feels different than the jacquard fabric that was used on the WAYCO Island, but on the other hand, the Infinity Mice Duel feels a lot smoother to the touch, when I feel there is quite difference in inconsistency in the x-axis and the y-axis, which may have been due to the large print on the surface, but that also can be due to the fact that this is quite hard to determine on which side you are supposed to rotate the pad on your desk with this design, but you can kinda replicate it from the picture of on the Infinity Mice website, or just rotate it in the position where it feels and looks better for you. On my angled glide speed test, the Infinity Mice Duel feels a lot slower than any of my other hybrid pads, even slower than the WAYCO Island. And when you start digging more into the surface of the Duel, it feels a bit more controlled, almost like a muddy. If I were to compare Infinity Mice Duel against the WAYCO Island, the Duel feels more like a lock-in feeling, when you like really need to stop your mice from moving, when the WAYCO Island feels slightly faster, but that's all on the preferences. I slightly prefer more the stopping power on the Duel, but the overall feel and the better base on the WAYCO Island. So in my opinion, you can't go wrong with any of these, but the slippery on the base of my Infinity Mice Duel isn't really great. So I'm giving a better score to the WAYCO Island for better, non-slippery base. But that being said, the newer mousepad from Infinity Mice should be having a way better base, coming in at around $40 for a squat pad at this high quality, where it is really hard for me not to recommend the Infinity Mice, not the Duel, to any of you. And then we have the absolute blast of a mousepad that I have so far tried. It is the ERRENNIR GECKO. And I can immediately tell you that the GECKO has become one of my most favorite mousepads so far. We have a boring square of a mousepad, which is a 500mm and 500mm at around a 3 to 3.5mm of a thickness, with really firm base, but it doesn't feel like a hard pad compared to glass pads or resin mouse pads. The GECKO feels very sticky. The GECKO features this very sticky base, which you won't be able to move on your desk easily, but you can take it off from your desk with no issue. You can also find a video on their Twitter account where they are pulling a whole car by just sticking the base of the GECKO on the hood of the car, and that is just mind-blowing. You can see when I will really trying to pull on the GECKO on my desk, it's not moving at all. It sticks on the desk and it doesn't move. That's just insane. The surface of the GECKO feels quite nice and smooth, not as smooth as my Infinity Mice Duel, but it doesn't feel irritating. Only one thing I can relate to is that sometimes the surface pulls on hair on my forearm, but that happens only ever so slightly. And it's not annoying to the point that the mousepad will not be comfortable to use, so there is no problem with it at all, just something to point out. It doesn't look like a speed pad, as per the description and my angle glide speed test. It is more of a hybrid speed controlled mousepad, but the ease of glide and stopping power is making it really impressive for me at least. You have almost no issue while gliding over the surface of the GECKO. It feels really smooth. Nothing pulls on my skates, so there is very high friction, but not as high as a glass pads, like Skypad for example. But the amount of stopping power is also impressive. It's just so easy to stop the movement with your mice, so it becomes really easy to move and stop at the same time. I also want to mention that I love the feel of the surface of the GECKO, because when I hold my mice in this kind of relaxed grip, I have these 3 contact points with my fingers with the surface of the mousepad, and my fingers doesn't stick to the surface of the GECKO, so again, it feels really great for tracking and fast-paced movement with my mice on it. Compared to my other pads, the GECKO doesn't feel muddy, but with its firm base, you might find a disadvantage of not having the ability to sink your skates into the surface, make it feel even slower. But for me, it is not an issue on the surface, has a lot of control on its own. Overall, it is really fun and easy to use mousepad that I can highly recommend to any of you. Only one thing to mention as well, that the GECKO print on the surface has a rubbery feel. So if you will ever end up down here with your skates, it will slow down your movements so you can feel it. But in my opinion, this have never happened to me, and I think it's not a downside. Next on my list, we have a mud pad from ESP Tiger, the FENG LING. This mousepad was supposed to be the second slowest mousepad from their Shanghai series, but there was supposed to be even slower mousepad, the Tank DUEL. But from other users that have tried both mousepads, it turns out that the FENG LING is way slower than the Tank DUEL. On the FENG LING, we have a size of a 480 and 400mm of the size, and it comes in a 4mm thickness with a mirror surface Japanese pour-round base, which feels very sticky, sticks to your desk and doesn't move at all on your desk while you are using it in gaming. But as you can see, my desk is not perfect, so it leaves a lot of dust, and my base is not clean at this moment. And as you can see, it slides on my desk, but when you clean the base with water, it will become even more sticky. But you will get the mirror surface pour-on on this pink color variant than on the black or the blue version, which features a diamond pattern pour-on, which may feel different, but I only own this version, so I cannot compare them side by side, unfortunately. The FENG LING features a really smooth and very controlled surface that feels really muddy. So if any of you enthusiasts or tag FPS gamers out there seeking that slow, muddy, controlled mousepad, I can easily recommend it to you. If you are okay with the size, which in my opinion, I prefer square pads in at least a size of 490 by 490 millimeters or a 500 by 500 millimeters. Again, the FENG LING features a high quality surface level stitching coming with a really soft, non-slippery Japanese pour-on base. It is a high recommendation for those seeking something that might feel like a high quality version of a Xiaomi GSR mousepad. At least that is what I have heard about the FENG LING from other users or reviewers. Unfortunately, my mousepad collection is very limited, so I cannot test and compare every mousepad on the market for you, but I am still trying to give you my honest opinion on each of these mousepads. As mentioned above, the FENG LING comes in this pink color version with no design on it, only a rubberized print on the top right corner, which you can feel when you glide over it. It's even worse than the GECKO print on the GECKO mousepad. So if that will become a problem for you, I can recommend you to rotate the mousepad. So if you will like end up in this right top corner, so the logo will be down in the left corner, so it will not be a problem for you to glide over with your mouse skates. The next color, as mentioned, is light blue, and it also comes in a black version with a red logo on it. The speed of the FENG LING is sitting at the lowest, as it is the slowest and most controlled mousepad in my collection that I own. You can see in the angled glide speed test of it with some stock skates on two different mices. And it is the really slowest and most controlled mousepad, even though this glide test doesn't feel alike. This become the slowest pad on this list compared to all of my other mousepads. And then finally, the last mousepad on my list is the 4D Gaming ENIGMA. The 4D Gaming is a company led by Fortnite professionals with the idea of making great high-quality products like mousepads. And if you might have never heard of this company, their products were already used on big stages by many professional players. And their products are also used by many content creators as well. Their idea was to release a product they wanted to and haven't found on the market, so they have created these two mousepad variants. One is ENIGMA, which is a 480 by 410mm, which is not a square pad at all, but coming in an insane of 5mm thickness with a rubber base. And the other variant is TESSERACT, which is a desk mat coming at 910 by 450mm size. And you might be wondering what these mousepads are made for. The base is made out of rubber, it slips on my desk quite well. They come rolled up in boxes, which for my desk mat isn't really a big problem, but for the smaller Enigma, it come out of the box slightly fraying. But I have quite made it sit flat with using a glass mousepad in a box, sitting on it for a while, and it feels much better. So when I swipe on the surface, it doesn't feel like it's fraying. But it was not a great idea to roll up the small rectangle mousepad in a box. The size of it is also quite small. Nothing like the large square pads users can relate to. The stitching is massive, it's above the surface. But let me tell you my opinion on the 4D gaming mousepad. The surface feels a bit rough, it could be a bit smoother. Yet it is another hybrid speedpad in my collection. I know, the handmade stitching is really not that great feeling, and the rubber paste, yeah, it could be way better. But actually, when you play on this mousepad, it feels really nice, and I can put this somewhere in between the Infinity Mice DUEL and the GECKO. It doesn't feel muddy, it doesn't feel uncomfortable, but at this moment, it is just a boring mousepad that doesn't feel any more exceptional than anything right now on the market. If I will have to recommend it to any of non-enthusiast or average gamer, I will highly recommend the 4D gaming over the Ember HKX100, which didn't feel great, but they were okay how their mousepad feels and performs. It wasn't a terrible mousepad, but at the same time for its price, it wasn't something special. But that isn't the same with the 4D gaming. Their mousepads feel okay, but not at an enthusiast level of a feeling. But hear me out, I have and many others talk with 4D gaming, and the idea of their Enigma and TESSERACT mousepad was to release a great product for average users or professionals, which I think was a success. And now they are opening to enthusiasts and reviewers to try and review and critique their mousepads. And they listen to the community. Rolled up mousepads, not anymore. They are working on flat packing, high level of stitching, not anymore. They are working on a level surface stitching and more, like better base for their mousepads and so on. So at this moment on my review, the 4D gaming mousepad feels okay, but I am excited for what they will come with on the market. But for now, we have to wait. In conclusion, I can easily recommend any of these mousepads to any of you gamers and enthusiasts out there. But if you want to get Infinity Mice mousepad, please look out for the newer versions with newer bases that has their Infinity Mice logo embodied on the base. This should be not that slippery like my DUEL is. And also for the 4D gaming Enigma or the TESSERACT, if you are interested in their products, wait for the new releases. But for now, my most favorite mousepad at this time is the GECKO. But I can't say anything wrong about any of these mousepads at all. I enjoy using every single one of them, except the 4D gaming Enigma with that high level of stitching is not comfortable for me, and the base is slippery as my Infinity Mice DUEL. Because with the 5mm thickness and the really high level of stitching, you can feel it when you glide over it. I can feel it with my forearm, but the print on the mousepad doesn't irritate me or doesn't slow me down, so there is a really quality print on the Enigma, and I would really be interested in testing the new 4D gaming mousepads, but we have to wait. They are also looking for a retailer to sell their mousepads for people in the Europe, because they are now only being available in US, and trust me, it was not cheap to ship the Enigma and TESSERACT mousepads from US to my country in Europe. If you think I did a good job on my review, please leave a like on this video as well as consider subscribing to my channel. It helps me a lot, and if you are into the peripherals like myself, more of these videos will be coming. And if you have any questions or if I have missed anything in my video, please ask me in the comments, or you can ask me on my Twitter account. Link will be put in the description of the video. I wish you to have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.